Welcome to Alberta to Arizona. I'm Tracy Gray, real estate investor, and the show hosts are up in Canada, Devin Gray here in Edmonton, Alberta with EXP Realty Group and Mogul Realty Group. And then down in Scottsdale, Phoenix area in Arizona, we've got the beautiful Diane Brennan, who's professional real estate agent with Coldwell Banker.
No, please.
We've used the summer as a little bit of a rest and relaxation, so it's been a couple of weeks since we've done this. Diane, you had a trip up to Canada. There's been so much going on, and then I just love the idea of doing a market report because it's been a while since we've had that. So Diane, do you want to begin?
Sure. Well, I think we're pretty much the same as in Canada. Buyers are worried. They don't know where prices are going. Our interest rates are high. We're completely different than 5 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago. We now have went from 4,000 properties to 18,000. So we have an influx of inventory. And buyers are kind of concerned that prices are going to go down. So they're kind of hesitant to purchase. So with the interest rates, so what sellers are doing is offering credits. So I know you guys have a different term for it. We call them seller concessions, but to buy down the interest rate to make it more affordable for buyers to purchase. So crazy stuff. I think I better look at marrying rich a lot more than my real estate.
Well, what a difference from this spring. If you've got 18,000 properties for sale now, that's insane.
Yeah. So lots to choose from. Sellers are a lot more flexible. List prices are coming down. And we were also dealing with a bunch of people who had PTSD from our last market crash. When it was a seller's market here, it's completely changed. So they were worried then when it was a seller's market. So that fear, still thinking that prices are going to go down a little bit. So we try and educate them and tell them, look, you can always buy down your interest rate, but at least get in on the appreciation. It's still better than renting and building that equity on your property and getting in there. And here we can always refinance at a no cost penalty too. So if rates do go down, you have that option. So
Well, and rates have been down for a long time, like comparatively, and now they're scooping back up again. It's a little bit of a shock for everybody, but it's not the first time you're talking about that the interest rates have been so high before.
yeah, well, there's still a deal compared to the 80s, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
Historically, they're still
everything's a
pretty good.
deal
Yeah.
compared to the 80s.
But human nature, they're used to one way, so it's hard for them to do that now. But a lot of people who just were qualified for, bumps them out of affordability where they don't qualify anymore for a mortgage. So that plays a huge part for those people who are just kind of on the fence and just kind of making it. So
Yeah. All right. Well, and then in Canada, the market report, Devin.
yeah, so it's similar yet different. Similar in the fact that we also we haven't seen what is that, 4 times the amount of listings come on in the market. But it is interesting that I think a lot of people remember when it was a seller's market, Jan, Feb, March. They got tired of hearing about family and friends and neighbors selling for $40,000-$50,000 over list, so they thought that they would get the house on the market. That's definitely what happened in April and May, and that was happening at the same time that we had we had a rate increase in March, a rate increase in April, a rate increase in June. And so that was slowly taking a lot of buyers out because they were going, oh, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm uncertain. I'm just going to hold off. And yet there was more listings coming on. I know things get very busy for you, July, August. I actually shared that a ton. Your 2 busiest months are July, August. That's our second biggest lull, with our first one being December, January. So we definitely got into the summer slowdown anyways. People would rather be camping. They'd rather be hanging out in an Earl's patio rather than looking at real estate. But then we definitely had a real shockwave go through the third week of July with a 1 percentage point increase. People were talking about 0.5 or 0.75. So the 1% increase, which I think followed the United States, I think you had a 1% in July as well. That really sent some shockwaves through the market. And it's been interesting since then because already we're into, again, the August slowdown. We have buyers not only hesitant, but we've also had some buyers now having some trouble getting financing. So I know I've lost 2 or 3 buyers this month because of that. But what's also been interesting, and this obviously must be similar to you, is that there's still a lot of people that are going, well, the market's still up from last year, so I want to get my house on the market. So there's a lot of people that want to be listing at a time when there's a lot of uncertainty. For the first time in a couple of years, I've been telling people it'll be interesting to watch what happens September 7th. That's the next Bank of Canada interest rate increase. It will be an increase. It's about next time they announce what they're going to do. 100% it'll be an increase. The question is whether or not it'll be a lower increase or a bigger increase. Our inflation peaked at 8.1% in June. The numbers for July came out about a week ago, and we did dip a little bit to 7.6, but that was only because of a couple of factors. Food, for example, still went up, so there's still some really high costs, and the Bank of Canada wants to be at 2%. So we're at 7.6, they want to be at 2. We'll see what happens. I think another 1% increase is going to add a lot more uncertainty for buyers, which will make it a bit of a slowdown in the fall. But I think if it ends up being, say, 0.5% because they feel that, okay, we're a long way away from getting inflation under control, but it looks like it's working, I think that'll put some more confidence for buyers in the market, because all they want is stability. They just want to know kind of what's happening. So I know for us, we're talking a lot with our mortgage brokers because they know a lot more. They're a lot closer than we are, and trying to get a sense of what we think is going to happen September 7th, because I think that's going to set the stage for what happens moving through the fall.
In Edmonton, Canada, when are your busiest months for real estate?
Yeah,
typically?
so I think it's pretty consistent across Canada, but certainly in Alberta, our busiest months traditionally would be March to June. Then the second busiest time period would be the fall. Then we slow down a little bit July, August because of what I said, and then obviously December is our slowest month, and traditionally January, February because it's so cold. But the last 2 years, we really saw the sellers market hit Jan, Feb, March rather than March, April, May. That's been really interesting. A couple things that happened this year, January, February, is there was a lot of people that knew that interest rates were going to go up. They had a lot of, talking to their mortgage brokers and looking at, historically what's going to happen, and lots of talks about supply chain shortages and all that stuff. So they got ahead of the game. But what compounded that was there was less listings than normal. A lot of people that just really didn't want to sell their house because they were still kind of used to cocooning because of COVID and stuff like that. So it was the perfect recipe, Jan, Feb, March, pretty much across the country. More buyers than usual for early in the year, less sellers than usual for early in the year, and then it very quickly balanced itself out. The combination of people kind of not wanting to miss the party, so more listings hit the market, compounded by 4 interest rate increases, and that slowed down the buyers. And with interest rates, that I think now that's been realized that we've just got back to interest rates that were prior to COVID. Like, these are not exorbitant interest rates. Tracy and I talk about when we bought our first personal residence in 1998, we were thrilled that we got an 8% interest rate. Then when we bought the house that we're in, we were thrilled that our interest rate was 5%. But we've been around 3% for so long. And then people have short-term memories. You end up with an emergency interest rate of 1.6, 1.7. People don't care what history was telling us. They know that their current reality and the reality that should be moving forward is these emergency rates. So it's not so much about where we are at now, it's about how fast. And that's also been a lot of pushback. And I think that I'm a history fan, and I read this great article that said that in the States and in Canada in the late 70s, early 80s, nobody did. The Federal Reserve and the Bank of Canada didn't do anything fast enough, and inflation rates got up to 15%. That's when they had to come in with the 18, 22, 26% interest rates to calm everything down. I think that they're trying to not allow that to happen, because it's been interesting, people talking about, there might be a recession. I guess we'll see. The Bank of Canada is going all in on these fast interest rate hikes because they're thinking that they'll have a soft landing, and we'll see what happens. We're very early on in this current trend of inflation doing a slight dip down. That's why I say it's going to be an interesting time, because it's everyone's asking us, what's the crystal ball? It's like, haven't been here for 40 years with 8% inflation rates. We really don't know.
Yeah, we don't. Well, the important thing is, here in the Phoenix area, is I tell my buyers, you're looking for shelter. And what's nice is, your basic necessities are food, clothing, and shelter, right? Everything's getting more expensive. But the beauty of the real estate here in the US is that 30-year mortgage and locking that in, and the ability to refinance without a prepayment penalty, which you get in Canada. And I was telling my sellers that. They're like, tell your Canadian friends. And I said, well, yeah, look at what's going on in Canada in terms of having to be forced to be stuck with the interest rate. Your terms are only, 3 to 5 to 10 years. And I've talked about this in prior shows, but it's still like shocking to me. So I try and tell the buyers here, like, we have it really good. You can refinance, you know what I mean, if rates happen to drop. So as long as that monthly payment's affordable and it makes sense to you, don't skip out on the appreciation that you can get in on from purchasing right now. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. And I think that the one comment back to that again, from observers up in Canada, is that I think a lot of people in the States, because it's so easy to refinance, are always refinancing. I've heard of mortgages being passed on to children because they just keep refinancing and never really ultimately tackle that principle, and are just constantly taking money out of the property, and not necessarily ever paying it off. And then you've also got the advantage, and certainly we think that's great, of being able to write off the interest. We're not able to do that, but I think that it's more of a conservative approach in regards to trying to make sure and encourage people to pay their principal off and pay those houses off, and not always be refinancing and taking money out, because there obviously are going to be some prudent people that are going to do the right thing, but there's also going to be people that, and it happens in Canada too, but hey, let's take 50 grand out of our house to go buy a sports car and an RV and take a nice trip to Hawaii or something like that. So, and that's not the purpose of why you should be refinancing.
well, and that's one of the reasons, where a lot of people got into trouble when the market crashed, in 2000. I guess our bottom was 2011. From that market crash, is people were taking so much money out and buying things for that too. So I think we've wisened up out here for sure. We have good mortgage lenders that are encouraging people not to do that. There are laws now in place where you can only get a certain percentage of it out, and you can't tap into all of your equity, just a certain percentage. So
So I
yeah.
know the whole purpose of this was again to help, especially Canadians, get a sense of what it's like to purchase in Phoenix. And I know in the past, it's been a challenge for Canadians to find properties. So now that there's 18,000 listings going on in the Phoenix area and prices are dropping, this sounds like it would be a much better time for a Canadian to look at making that purchase in Phoenix. So what sort of advice can you give them if they've got a decision to make about possibly making a purchase in the next, say, 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, well, it's a great time. The problem is the financing. So it's not, Canadians, I believe, have to have 50% down. So it has to make sense, and with the dollar parity where the Canadian dollar is at, it was a lot more attractive, 12 years ago when, the dollar was at par. So you have to take into account the affordability for that. A lot of Canadians were doing home equity lines in Canada in order to get the cash out and paying cash here. So that's one option, but there also are some Canadian banks that are doing some lending in for some properties in the US. So great time to buy, great time to negotiate. A lot more great properties on the market. If you want a second home or an investment property, rentals are still strong. So it's still good. It's just got to make sense for you.
Yeah. Well, and the weather's nice here in Edmonton right now, but as soon as it starts to turn colder again, I know a lot of people are going to want to buy down there, Diane.
Yeah, for sure. How is your weather? You guys have had a hot summer. When I was there, it was
It's been
really
really hot.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and pointing that out, you came and visited Edmonton for a little bit, and we got together for lunch, but didn't even take a photo, let
I
alone
know.
for
I was so
show
bummed out. I
or
was like,
anything
oh,
for social media. We just were like missed it by that much.
I know.
But
I
it
know.
was an interesting lunch to say the least too. We
Like,
almost
yeah,
didn't
we
even
were
make it
we
to
were
lunch.
we were thrown off by all the little weird things that we're going
Oh
on.
yeah, we had lunch at a beautiful hotel. Which hotel was that again? The
JW
The
Marriott.
JW Marriott downtown, yeah.
Yeah,
Brand new
And the
hotel.
restaurant was Braven, I think.
Yeah, which is
yeah.
one of the top rated restaurants in Edmonton. Apparently, it's not owned by JW Marriott. They're they own themselves in it because
Oh,
JW
okay.
Marriott was like, yeah, we don't own them.
So we just had,
I started
yeah,
saying
we just
it
had a
wasn't the
lady.
best.
And for those watching, I don't know if you guys all find it irritating how if someone's on a phone on and talking on speaker. So we had a lady that was sat down right beside us who's having conversations on speakerphone. So that was a little
Yeah.
distracting, right?
Well, and what was most hilarious was it's a very large restaurant. I was quite surprised by that. And there's, maybe 10% of the restaurant's full, and there's all these empty tables,
Yeah.
and she gets sat down right beside you.
Right
while
beside
she's-
us.
She's on the phone.
It was hilarious, right?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
was-
when some people go, well, is that any different than talking to someone? It was, because she's like yelling into the phone, and then she had them cranked up, and they're like, hey, I'm so saying the other day.
Yeah, and it's still that noise. You know what I mean? It's not like a person talking to you. It's that, sounds on the phone sounds like a speaker as if someone was watching TV or a video. So that was interesting. But it was great to see you guys. And I see that this week is your anniversary. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
How many
thank you.
years?
Yeah,
It's a big one.
this is a big 20 years. Yeah.
Wow. I
Yeah.
haven't even started dating yet. You guys are way ahead of me.
I'm starting to think he's a keeper, Diane.
Are you guys doing anything? Are you guys going to do anything for your honeymoon? I mean, your anniversary.
Yeah, we look at each other kind of cautiously. We didn't really, it was yesterday, and we didn't really do anything because we've got teenage boys and basketball evaluations were going on, and they couldn't even give us an exact time as to when he needed to play. So we thought, well, and then I had to be up at 2:30 this morning for work at Global, and so we thought, well, we can't even like have a late night out and can't even just like do a staycation in a hotel or something. So we're like, we just kind of go for
Waiting.
lunch. and
Well, I know you
celebrate
guys are
that.
going to Vegas in October, so you
We
can
are,
celebrate
that's right.
then.
Yeah, Vegas,
But-
and then we also have we're looking to make another family trip, and that'll be a celebration for us. So yeah, it was interesting. We really did try to do a 3-day, 2-night staycation, and just things just started piling up. Not just for Tracy's work
Yeah.
and things that I've got going on, but of course also the boys and that. So we just went,
Yeah.
well, that's just the way it is when you've got two active
Kids,
teenage boys.
yeah.
And we're both
Yeah,
working
both
still.
of us
so-
working full time.
I tease all my married friends with kids. I'm like, yeah, all I ever get to do here, being single and no kids, is whatever I want.
Yeah, right.
But
Hey.
I will die alone. But
Yeah.
Trace, tell people what you do for Global, because I think there's some people watching that don't know what Global is.
Yeah, well, with Global TV, I'm a traffic reporter, and so I fill in on the morning show doing traffic reports. So this week I was working Monday, Thursday, Friday, and so of course that fell right kind of mid when our anniversary was. And so as Devin was saying, we couldn't even get like literally 2 days together when we could get a hotel room and just do a staycation.
Right.
Because it's not worth it if you have to leave the hotel at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
That's on the other side of town, so I'd have to leave even earlier. But yeah, I've been
Right.
working with Global TV for over 12 years now, and they're owned by Chorus Radio, which Diane, owns Kissin', which is where we originally met, was Kissin' Country 103.9.
Yeah. How old are we, Trace?
Radio announcers, don't go there. Don't go there. I'll talk radio and TV, but we already said it was 20 years. And I don't know how that could work out because we're both in our 20s. So
Yeah, I don't know. We were babies.
not too bad at math.
We were babies. Yeah, for
We were
sure.
just babies when we met. So
Right. So now's back to real estate a little bit. So now's a good time for people to kind of contact a realtor, contact a loan officer, and kind of make your plans. So it's a
Yeah.
great time to check your credit. I know there's a lot of buyers out there that are like, oh, I don't know, I have a couple of bumps in my credit. It's always a good idea during this time to talk to a lender, get your credit cleaned up. Or maybe you don't have to get it cleaned up, but at least get a game plan together so you exactly know what your costs are going to be and what you can do, everything to be prepared to purchase a home. So I always tell my clients that.
yeah,
I couldn't agree more. I did a buyer intake meeting yesterday, and again, everybody's situation is very unique, and so as much as we do these podcasts and Zooms and various things like that to help people out, it is general information. someone's specific situation is exactly that. And so the best, we want to be able to focus in specifically on you and your challenges. Had a great 1 hour meeting with this lady yesterday, based on she's got a property, she wants to buy another one, she's got circumstances going on with her work, all those types of things. And so it was great to sit down and give her a plan on what to do over the course of the next couple of months. And so she's got a lot of homework to do, but she felt really confident in being able to say, okay, I'm going to go talk to this person, I'm going to go talk to this person, I'm going to get this thing done, and then I'll be ready to go. So
Yeah.
prior to that, she was really feeling a little lost.
And building that relationship with you, she has a real estate advisor that she can contact all through, and a
That's right.
mortgage lender that she can talk to, every step of
Yeah.
the way. So
Yeah, absolutely.
provides a lot of confidence for the buyers
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sellers, I tell them, you got to fix everything now. I'm telling you, that house has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Diane, when you came up to Edmonton for your trip, we didn't really touch on that. How was your trip? Did it bring back a lot of good memories? I saw your social media. You got to see a lot of family.
Oh, it was fantastic. Well, I hadn't seen my mom and my parents in 3 years because of COVID restrictions. So that was really good. Got to spend a lot of time with her and got to take her to see our relatives and cousins and family. And I got to play in a golf tournament in Calahoo, and I got to see a ton of friends and people who I grew up with. It was just, I have a second set of parents that I stay with and go visit. And it was just, I couldn't have asked for a better trip. It was like, I cried actually when I left and stuff. People are happy to see you when you don't live there. It'd be a different story if I lived there all the time and stuff, but
they
it was
actually
really
want
good
to visit with you.
Yeah. And it was great to see how much Edmonton has grown and all the development and all the great restaurants and places that I got to try and stuff. I mean, it's really grown. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So the River Valley's incredible. So props to you guys.
Came at a great time. It was
Yeah.
a lot of rain in June that really greened the city up, and then we had some great heat while you were there. But yes,
And
I know
the
it's
mosquitoes down, which was nice too.
it did.
Yeah.
That's what I forgot about. Well, I forgot about the mosquitoes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can't forget the mosquitoes.
Well, I remembered pretty quick on my walk. I was like, oh my gosh. So
What's eating
you
me?
do not have mosquitoes. So the nice thing about Arizona, it gets hot. You don't want to be here in the summertime, but your outdoor area is another living space because we don't have any bugs except for, maybe
Right.
scorpions.
Yes,
We don't see
that's right.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, our outdoor living space now, it's because you got to let the dog out before bed, and it's like, keep that back door shut, you're gonna let the moths in. So
Yeah, right.
it's always like, oh, I guess we're
Yeah.
spending the night with a couple of moths in the house. So.
Yeah. Well, better than mosquitoes, right?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I would take a moth over a mosquito. He hates moths, though, so I don't think he would.
Oh, but how about that one fly while you're sleeping, right? Like, how did it get in here? The house has been locked up. Did it just?
Even flies, mosquitoes always go right for my eardrums for some reason when I'm sleeping. So
Well, it's like, how did you make it upstairs? Really?
it's a long way for a mosquito to go.
Like how? Our dog can't even find its way upstairs. How the heck did you?
I know.
All right. Well, we're going to have to try that lunch again when
sure.
we do go down to the States, Diane. We're hoping you'll get a chance to come and see us down there. So we'll have to coordinate those dates. But in the meantime, here we are back in action again, Alberta to Arizona. Diane, do you want to tell people how to get a hold of you if they'd like more information on moving to beautiful Arizona?
Absolutely. My cell number is 602-620-2277. My email is can't remember her email @gmail.com. I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker. I specialize in all areas of the Phoenix metro area, including all the 17 cities, Scottsdale, Buckeye, you name it. I started my career helping Canadians purchase property here. And so I'm well-versed in all cities of the Phoenix metro area.
Great. And Devin, how about you?
Devin Gray, realtor with eXp Realty and the Mogul Realty Group. We do specialize with investors, so we do buy and holds, fix and flips, and creative strategies, but certainly can help homeowners purchase a home or sell a home as well. You can reach me at 780-951-9279. Email is Devin, DEVIN, @mogulrg.com.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.